All right, hey guys. Okay, so let's continue. So we are going to um, get into our homework. And as usual, I am going to move myself out of the way because I know that I don't even know where to put myself right now. Let's just go with right here for now. Let's see. All right. So our homework, what we had to work on was in our student book, page 73. And in our workbook, pages 66 to 69. Now, this unit, as we talked about in the last lesson, this unit is about time. And last week, we talked about different ways that you can tell time, different things that you might have in your house that might help you to tell time. And what are some of those things? You have a clock. A clock helps us to tell time. Repeat after me. Clock. Clock. Some of us might wear a watch. Watch. A watch helps us to tell time. Or probably most of us, like myself, use our phones. Phone helps us to tell time. Right here. You know, we oftentimes when someone says, oh, do you have the time? I used to go like this. I used to raise my wrist and go like this to look at my watch. Now I get my phone out of my back pocket and I just look at my phone, right, to tell the time. So these are some of the different items that we can use to tell time. So let's get into our homework. And let's talk about page 73 in our student book. Page 73 in our student book. So first, let's talk about the morning, the afternoon, and the evening. And we're going to talk about things that we do different days of the week. Let's specifically talk about Saturday, because during the regular weekday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we probably have a very specific routine, right? Where we get up, we get dressed, we go to work, or now that we're living a new normal with COVID-19, our schedule might have changed a little bit, but we're still trying to keep a routine, right? But on Saturdays, usually on Saturdays on the weekends, we plan different things. Sometimes we do the same thing, sometimes not. But on Saturdays, we sometimes do different things. So let's look at this family on page 73, and this is the Wilder family. And they have a schedule. They have a schedule, right? And they do different things on Saturday. And you know what? I think what we see here, first let's look at the different pictures and see what people are doing. So here we have Jill. Jill is in the Wilder family. And right now here we see, so first we're going to talk about who is in the picture, where are they, what do we see, and what are they doing? So here's Jill. And we see that she looks like she's watching TV, right? That's what she's doing. We see a TV and we see Jill. Here's Jill again. She's on the playground. This looks like a soccer ball. She's kicking the ball. And then here she is again. She's just standing around. We don't know if she's at home or if she's out, but she's just standing here with her phone and her earphones in, listening to music, right? So that's Jill. Then you have Mr. and Mrs. Wilder with a grocery cart. Here they are again, digging up dirt in the yard and planting a tree. And here they are again, going over bills. Ugh. Who likes to go over bills? No one likes to go over bills. And then we have Harry. And here we see Harry. He's writing something. So he's at a desk. It's like he's doing homework. Here we see he's kicking a football. So he's also on a field. And then here's Harry. And here's a screen, but there's a lot of people. There are a lot of people. And so he's watching a movie, right? So let's listen to their schedule, the Wilder family's schedule, and let's talk about it a little bit. First, let's talk about what's happening. So what is Jill doing on Saturday morning? So we talked about that she's watching TV, right? So we're going to go ahead and listen to this audio about the Wilder family. We're going to listen and repeat, okay? Listen and repeat.
Page 73. Exercise 2B. On Saturday morning, Jill watches TV.
On Saturday morning, Jill watches TV. Repeat.
On Saturday afternoon, she plays soccer.
On Saturday afternoon, she plays soccer.
On Saturday evening, she listens to music.
On Saturday evening, she listens to music.
On Saturday morning, Mr. and Mrs. Wilder go shopping.
On Saturday morning, Mr. and Mrs. Wilder go shopping.
On Saturday afternoon, they work in the garden.
On Saturday afternoon, they work in the garden.
On Saturday evening, they pay bills.
On Saturday evening, they pay bills. Oh, they didn't do Harry. Okay. I didn't realize that they weren't going to talk about Harry. Interesting. I'm sorry, that just surprised me. Okay, so let's talk about Harry. I didn't expect that. I thought they were going to continue with Harry. So on Saturday morning, Harry does his homework. You can repeat after me. On Saturday morning, Harry does his homework. On Saturday afternoon, he plays football. On Saturday evening, he goes to a movie. Okay, so how do we know what they're doing, what time of day? Is because if we look right here, we see Saturday morning. You see their schedule. So this is Saturday morning, and this is what each person is doing on Saturday morning. Then we have Saturday afternoon, and you see what they're doing on Saturday afternoon. Then we have Saturday evening, and you can see what they're doing on Saturday evening. So I want you to think about what you do on Saturday morning and on Saturday evening. I'm sorry, Saturday afternoon and on Saturday evening. And write out your routine, your schedule, your activities for Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, and Saturday evening. Now let's look at exercise, the second part of exercise B. It says, listen, then talk with a partner, change the bold words, and make conversations. So first, let's look at what you're supposed to listen to, or what you're supposed to do. You have two people talking, person A and person B. What does Jill do on Saturday morning? She usually watches TV. So person A asks the question, and they ask the what question that we just learned about last week, right? What do you do, right? And then we have she watches TV. Usually, we put usually, or they put usually, to let us know that this is what normally happens. Something might come along and change that, but normally on Saturdays, she watches TV. What does Jill do? When? On Saturday morning. So we're using our prepositions of time on Saturday morning. We're using our simple present. What does Jill do? Our simple present, what question, right? And our simple present answer, she usually watches TV. So what they want you to do is to change the bold words and make conversations. So we have all of these here. And what are the bold words? Bold words are this part right here, does Jill, and the bold words are this part right here, Saturday morning. Right? So we've got Jill and we've got Saturday morning. That was number 1. Number 2, we're going to replace does Jill with Mr. something and then Mr. and Mrs. Wilder. And then we were going to replace Saturday morning with Saturday evening. And since we've got 2 people, Mr. and Mrs. Wilder, when we answer the question, she will become what? She, just like Jill became she, Mr. and Mrs. Wilder will become they. Okay? Mr. and Mrs. Wilder will become they. So first, let's listen to our audio.
Page 73. Exercise 2B. What does Jill do on Saturday morning?
She usually watches TV.
Okay? So I'll have to be both person A and person B. Oh, this is the terrible part of not being in class. So I'm going to go through each answer. Hopefully at home you will have found, maybe someone at home that you can do this exercise with. And I'll go through each and do the answer with you. Okay? So I will be person A and person B. You can feel free to comment in the comment section of the YouTube video. So I'm going to go through each one and explain each one. All right. So we did number 1. What does Jill do on Saturday morning? She usually watches TV. Number 2. What do Mr. and Mrs. Wilder do on Saturday evening? So we're going to change does Jill. It's going to become do Mr. and Mrs. Wilder. And why is it do? Because Mr. and Mrs. Wilder are two people. And two people is plural. And when you're using the plural form, it becomes do. Okay? In fact, you use do with the what questions for all singular and plural forms except for he, she, or it. He, she, or it, we use does, as we learned last week. So what do Mr. and Mrs. Wilder do? And then we're going to change Saturday morning to Saturday evening. What do Mr. and Mrs. Wilder do on Saturday evening? Well, let's come over to our pictures. Let's come to Saturday evening. Let's come to Mr. and Mrs. Wilder. And we will say they, and we can add usually. They usually pay bills. They usually pay bills. That's terrible. They should be going out on a date, don't you think? Okay. I want to come down here for a moment where it says useful language. And right here we see it says usually means most of the time. Always means all of the time. So here we say they usually pay bills. That means that sometimes they pay bills. Most of the times they pay bills. And maybe sometimes, once in a while, they might go on a date. I think it should be the other way around. They usually go on a date, but sometimes they pay bills. Okay. All right, so let's go to number 3. And I'm going to move a little faster because now we understand, hopefully you understand that the verb here, the helping verb does, changes in accordance with the subject, according to the subject. So, and then this do will remain the same. It does not change at all. Okay, so now number 3. What do Mr. and Mrs. Wilder do on Saturday morning? Come to Saturday morning. They usually go shopping. They usually go shopping. Number 4. What does Harry do on Saturday afternoon? What does Harry do on Saturday afternoon? Let's find Harry. Saturday afternoon. He usually plays football. He usually plays football. Number 5. What do Mr. and Mrs. Wilder do on Saturday afternoon? What do Mr. and Mrs. Wilder do on Saturday afternoon? They usually work in the garden. They usually work in the garden. Number 6. What does Jill do on Saturday afternoon? On Saturday evening. What does Jill do on Saturday evening? She usually listens to music. She usually listens to music. What does Harry do on Saturday evening? What does Harry do on Saturday evening? He usually goes to a movie. He usually goes to a movie. What does Jill do on Saturday afternoon? What does Jill do on Saturday afternoon? She usually plays soccer. She usually plays soccer. And then number 9, what does Harry do on Saturday morning? What does Harry do on Saturday morning? He usually does his homework. He usually does his homework. All right, cool. So look at exercise 3. It says talk with your classmates, ask questions about the weekend. Well, since you aren't with your classmates right now, you can just talk with someone at home about the different things that you do on the weekend, different days during the weekend, and practice your what questions, what do, what does, and practice using your simple present verb in your answers. All right, until the next lesson, see you guys soon.